Hi everyone, welcome to my tutorial on how to use your LEGO Mindstorms, and then more importantly how to program them using the NXT 2.1 software. The first thing I want to talk about is the LEGO Mindstorm brick. The brick is like the intelligent brain of the robot. And so you can see here in my screen that my mouse over the brick is showed here. The next thing I want to let you know about is how we hook up various motors. So motors can only be connected to the ports A, B, and C. If you try and hook your motors up to 1, 2, 3, and 4, it just won't work. So motors go in A, B, and C. So in our firefighting robot project, we might have for sure 2 motors that will make the robot move forward, and then maybe a third motor that operates some sort of device that tries to put out the candle flame. And then the sensors on our robot would be hooked up or connected to the bottom, which are ports 1, 2, 3, and 4. It doesn't matter which one. So right now in this picture, this is called an ultrasonic sensor. It measures how far away something is, an object is. This is a light sensor, which can help see like black lines or white lines on the floor. This is a sound sensor, so you could clap your hands and the robot might respond to a certain sound in decibels. And this one is a very handy sensor. It is a touch or bumper sensor. So at the end there is a little plunger. If that plunger is pushed in, the robot might respond. Let's now get into how we program our robot. Programming our robot involves using this software. This is called NXT. So let me go over the basics. Our move blocks are located at the top. So if I drag down a move block, what you'll see here now is it can move direction. So right now, where are our motors hooked up? The default is B and C. So you want to make sure you have B and C for your motors, or switch it. You could go A and B and then uncheck C. Next, the default amount of power. This is the power is 75. If you wanted it to go faster, you would type in 100. So now you've just made the robot move at a faster speed, but the default is 75. Then the other factor or variable you control is how far does it go. It might go 1 rotation, which is the wheel going 360 degrees. Or we might make it go forward based on time in seconds. Or we could say make it go forward for an unlimited factor. The only time you would use the unlimited would be if you had a condition or weight block after that. More on that later. Next, we have a steering mechanism, so we can steer the robot down at the bottom here. So now if I move this slider to the right, it's going to turn right. If I move the slider more towards the left, it's going to turn left. So lots of things to think about. We could also make it brake. In other words, once it's gone 1 rotation, it goes stops, or we could have it coast to a stop. We could make it move in reverse, or we could just have a stop block. The next thing I want to talk about is how we might program certain sensors. So we could have the robot, let me turn this, we could have the robot move forward 1 rotation at 74 power, straight, completely straight. Then we might make it wait for 1 second, take a breather, maybe it's tired. Then we might have it move forward for an unlimited amount of time until the bumper is pressed in. So double check where your bumper's port is. So right now the default is port 1, but maybe you've got the bumper in port 2, and then it says pressed in. So here's what this set of code says. Move forward 1 rotation, at 75 power, wait 1 second, then the robot keeps moving unlimited until the bumper is pressed in. If it's never pressed in, okay, let's say nothing triggers it, then the robot will just keep moving forward forever. If it is pressed in, then we can say maybe stop. So put a stop in there. Okay, let's delete these and talk about a few other kinds of sensors or weight blocks. So let's make the robot move forward, unlimited, and until maybe the light sensor is triggered. So see these, that right now that's kind of halfway, 2 bars here. But let's say we wanted to see a black line. So the amount of light coming back at our light sensor might be about 30. So that's dark. See now the little bar there went down, so it's waiting for a black line. So it moves unlimited until it sees a black line on the floor. Usually your light sensor is pointed downward on the floor. Then maybe we have it back up. So let's hit the reverse, and it backs up maybe instead of 1 rotation, maybe for 3 seconds. So that's what this set of code. Let's talk about turning now. So let's have it move forward 1 rotation, and then maybe we want it to make a turn. When we make it have a turn, we've got to either use this slider like this, and we just have to do trial and error. We don't know if that's a 90-degree turn or whether we have to do a little bit more. So right now it's doing some sort of turn. See how you can see this arrow up here? Or another way to do turning is to have just one of the wheels rotate and not the other. So let's say port C, the motor in port C is on the right and the motor in port B is on the left. If I uncheck B and only have the motor on the right spinning, it's going to make a left-hand turn. It's going to veer to the left. I don't know whether that'll be a beautiful 90 degrees or not. Just so you know, if I do this and say, oh yeah, well let's just put 90 in here. This will not make a 90-degree turn. Okay, that's not what this means. That just means the right wheel, the wheel on port C will go 1/4 of a revolution, or 1/4 of 360 degrees, which is 90 degrees. So you have to play with this number to know whether right now this left turn, because the right wheel is turning, it's going to make a left turn. Is it big enough? If it doesn't go, if you want it 90, maybe we have to dial this up a bit higher. Okay, if we want to make it go the other direction, in other words, we want it to turn right, now we select the motor on the left side. So if the left side motor is spinning, it's going to veer to the right. So that's another way to do turning. So 2 different ways to do turning. Let's go back here. Let's say unlimited. And another sensor that we might want to use is called the ultrasonic or distance sensor. So this distance sensor, let's say it's in port 4, says if, as the robot's moving along the ground, if something shows up close to it, less than 50 inches right now, let's change it to centimeters, less than 50 centimeters, then it can do something else. In other words, it'll just keep on going until it approaches something. Once it approaches something that is less than 50 centimeters, you might make it back up. Whoops. So you might make it back up, reverse for 1 rotation. So move unlimited. If the ultrasonic sensor sees something close to it, less than 50 centimeters, then back up. So The other neat thing that we have at our disposal is something called the virtual brick. So this virtual brick can allow us to test our code or program on an online world. When the virtual brick is open and running, I can download this to my robot. So let's make it pretty simple. Let's use unlimited and then wait for a touch sensor to be touched. In the virtual world, which is what I'm pulling up right now, if we go home, we have robots we can pick. So right now I've got the Lego Rembot. It has the claw motor there. Then it's got the right and left, ports B and C. It has a light sensor and an ultrasonic, but no touch sensor. So maybe, how about we pick there with the touch sensor. So there's the little touch sensor. The touch sensor is in port 1. So there it is, that's the default. So we're going to make it move unlimited until it's the touch sensor, and then we're going to make it go backward. So let's hit it backward, reverse, 1 rotation. So let's download this to our virtual world. So it's downloading, done. Let's go to our virtual world. Let's go to this big, huge utility table, huge table, and let's start the activity and see what happens. So there's my robot. It's on this huge table. I can zoom out a bit, and let's see, it should bump into this wall and back up. So go, go robot, go, go robot, go, go, go robot, go, go robot, go, go robot, go. Yay, it did what I thought. It backed up. I might now add a turn. So it's going to do that, and then let's make it do a turn. So to do a turn, okay, let's think about this for a minute. Here's our robot. That's in port C. Let's make it turn to the left. So we're going to choose port C, and we're going to say maybe 0.75 of a rotation. And download to the robot. Reset. Go robot, go. So it's going to bump into the wall, boink, back up, and make, a left turn. So that's some basics on how we work our programming software.